Let's create and solve equations using the word sentences given here. All right, let's remember to identify keywords. You can reference your key concepts guide if you need help determining what those words would tell us to use in an equation. All right, this first one says the sum of a letter P and 18 is 37. So I'm going to box all my values. I could circle or underline keywords, so sum, and then I have is. Now let's remember sum references addition, and then is references where that equal sign should be, right? So the sum of a letter P, I'm going to have P plus, since sum is addition, 18 is, which means equals 37. And now I want to work to solve. Now remember, when we solve, we always use inverse operations. We do the opposite to get rid of something, right? So some number plus 18 is 37. What am I going to do? I'm going to do the opposite to isolate P to get P by itself. So what's the opposite of plus 18? It's minus 18. And now what I'm left with is P equals, I'm going to do the math here, and that would be 19. And now before you're confident, we're going to take one last step and plug it in and make sure it makes a true statement. So I'm just going to plug in 19 in place of P now. 19 plus 18 equals 37. I just want to make sure that's true. So I can do this in my head, or I can use a calculator, and that would be 37 equals 37. So I know it is true. Yay. Now I can move on to the next one. All right, this next one says the quotient. Think about what quotient means of D. Remember, that is a number, even though it's a letter. A variable represents an unknown value. And 5 equals 35. So this time it's telling us equals, obviously reference the equal sign. And then quotient, what does that mean? That means division. Remember, when it comes to division and subtraction, order matters. So make sure you're putting it in the correct order. We have D divided by 5, the quotient of D and 5, right? Put it in that same order, equals 35. All right, once again, inverse operations, we have to do the opposite to get rid of something. So in this case, if we're dividing, we want to do the opposite. What's the opposite of dividing? It's multiplying, and those will cancel each other out when I do the opposite. And I'm going to multiply by 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to keep the 5, carry that over. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So I know D equals 175. Now, before I'm confident, once again, I'm going to plug it in and check. 175 divided by 5 equals 35. Let's see if that's actually true. And I could break out my calculator if that's not something I can do in my head. So I'm going to do 175 divided by 5, and that does equal 35. So once again, I could be confident that 175 is correct. All right, let's keep moving on. The product of 8 and y is 96. Remember, is going to be that equal sign. Product means multiplication. So that means 8 times y equals 96. All right, we always want to do the opposite. So in this case, what's happening? Multiplication. We want to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. I'm going to divide both sides by 8. And in this case, I'm going to get y equals, and once again, if you need to use a calculator, go for it, 12. Don't be confident just yet. Plug it back in. 8 times 12 equals 96. 96 equals 96. Cool. All right, and last one, 36 less than a number y equals 94. Now let's think about this one. If you remember this from our previous unit, less than is a flag word, so we're gonna have to pay close attention to this. 36 less than, that means we're taking away 36 from y, right? So order matters, y needs to go first. 36 less than it, so we subtract 36 equals 94. All right, and we always have to do the opposite. What's the opposite of minus 36? It is plus 36. We're going to add 36 to both sides. And in this case, we are going to end up with y equals 140. Now don't be confident just yet. Plug it in to make sure. 140 minus 36 equals 94. And oops, I think I made a silly math mistake because that would have been more than that. Oops, it should have been 130. This is why we check our work, Mrs. Stroh. Silly math mistake. 10 plus 3 is 13. It should have been 130 instead. And this is why I like to model checking my work, because look at that silly mistake I made. And now I'm going to try it. 130. Oops. 130 minus 36. That actually is 94. So see how checking is great to help you catch, even if you made a silly little mistake like I did. Hope that helped you.